Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for joining us this evening, this morning, depending on where you're joining us from. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes here. We'll give folks a little bit of time to join, but while we're waiting, I see folks already chiming in. Love it. Let us know where you're joining us from so we can get a sense of our audience today, your name. Hello, DC, Florida. We've got some Canadians in the house. Amazing. Love it. Some plans to visit Australia. Good stuff. Where else are folks joining us from? Arizona. Nice. We've got some good representation from the Southwest here. Another Sydneyan. Hello. Awesome. Seattle, West Coast joining in. Awesome. Super diverse crowd tonight. Love to see it. North Carolina. Good stuff. Give folks just about another minute here to join. If you've just joined us, hello from Denver. We'd love to see your name, where you're calling in from in the chat. We've got Sydney, Australia. We've got lots of people from the States, Canada, Louisiana. Awesome, y'all. Thanks again for joining us. Well, it is 6:01, and I know we've got a lot of great material to cover tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started here. My name is Laura Rankin. I am the marketing manager here at Wonderful. And if you haven't heard of Wonderful before, welcome. We are thousands of women travelers and travel content creators based all around the world. And our goal is to help make travel better for women worldwide. You can catch us in over 50 cities around the world where we're regularly hosting local events, and we have an enormous online network. So you can tap into the sisterhood wherever you are in the world during your travels. We're all about opening the world up and lifting barriers for women, which is why we love hosting these free and online events to help you grow. So if you love this event, we hope you'll take some time to learn more about us and even join our member community. You will get an email about it after this webinar so that you can learn more. And with all of that said, I am pleased to introduce Brooke Shoneman, our guest of honor this evening. Brooke is the founder of Her Packing List, a site that has been helping women to pack light and travel confidently since 2010. She also teaches an ultralight packing class, handbag packing masterclass is what she calls it, where she helps women learn how to pack so confidently light that they could travel for an entire week in a personal item sized bag. I am so excited for this session tonight. Because of her love for extreme packing, Brooke has been featured in outlets including CNN Travel and 7 News Australia. You can learn more about Brooke. We'll share some of her links to her socials and her website in the chat. And with no further ado, it is my pleasure to bring Brooke into our stream here. Brooke, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Let me get your slides pulled up and we will let you take the reins.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Laura. And I see I have some of my people here as well. I saw you saying hello in the chat, so thank you for tuning in. Let me see, I can go. Yes, all right, perfect. All right, so welcome to the presentation portion of today where we're going to talk about minimalist packing. Yes, all right. So to kick this off, I'm going to ask if you can relate to these common travel situations. All right. So let's say you're traveling. You're traveling somewhere with a carry-on suitcase and you got that personal sized backpack as well. All right. And you get to your destination. It's early in the morning. So maybe 6 a.m., maybe before 6 a.m. And you can't check in to your accommodation until 2 in the afternoon. All right. You've all probably been there. And what are you doing at this moment? What are you doing? I'm going to guess that you're making a plan for your luggage. You know, you're not really like planning on getting out there and seeing things yet. You have to deal with what you've brought with you, right? So there are a couple of options at this point, and all of them kind of come at a cost. So let's say you could store your luggage at your hotel, but maybe your hotel is like on the other side of town, right? And then so to get there, you got to hop in an Uber or a taxi, and drop off your luggage. That costs money. Maybe the things that you wanted to go and do for the day are back where you came from, and you have to take another Uber or taxi, right? So you spent 30, 50 bucks just to deal with your luggage. Or maybe you're at an Airbnb and you don't have a place to actually like store your luggage. So you have to find something somewhere else, right? Some sort of luggage storage system, and that will cost money. It will cost time. And, or maybe you're doing the thing where you're trying to kill time in a cafe and you got your luggage with you and you're drinking your coffee super slow and you're moving your luggage out of the way while people walk through. I'm sure you've all been there, right? Or you could be in this situation where you have to check out at your accommodation at 11 or maybe even 10, because that happens. And you have a flight at 5 in the evening. All right. And you're like, okay, I don't have to be to the airport until 3. So you got 3 to 4 hours to go out and sightsee. You store your luggage with the front desk at the hotel, and you go out and you start seeing things and you start doing, different activities. And then about an hour and a half in, you're like, oh no, I got to get back to the hotel to get my luggage because there could be traffic. And, so 3, 4 hours turns into an hour and a half of sightseeing, right? All because you had to deal with your luggage. Your luggage at this point has all the power in your trip, right? It has so much power over us when we travel. We have to figure out, what to do with it. And it's an issue having to manage it. All right, so let's try that again. Maybe instead of the carry-on suitcase and the personal item backpack, you only have the personal item backpack. All right. You arrive at 6 in the morning at your destination. You go to a cafe, have a leisurely, breakfast and coffee. You go to a nearby park. You do some sightseeing. You take some photos. You walk around. 10 a.m., you hop on your mini tour bus. You go for an afternoon wine tasting on the outskirts of the city. You get dropped off at your hotel at 5 in the evening, and that is the first time that you're dropping off your stuff. Or you check out at 11 a.m., you go out sightseeing, shopping, whatever, with your bag on you. It's not a nuisance. You have 3+ hours of sightseeing instead of the hour and a half before. All right? So this is what travel life is like when you start minimalist packing. Okay? I'm talking school-size backpack or less type of packing. You have less stuff to manage, less stuff to deal with, pack up, lift up, and pay for. And you now have more time, energy, and money to put towards the actual trip. Amazing. You pack less stuff, you get more travel experiences. All right? So imagine that. Remember that. So that's what we're here to talk about. Minimalist packing. Yay. All right. Now, before I go further, I'm going to quickly introduce myself again. My name is Brooke. I am the founder of Her Packing List, a site that helps women to pack light and travel confidently. I am an American expat living in Australia, so it is actually 8 a.m. on Wednesday for me. So it's always interesting. And I'm a big proponent of minimalist packing. Yes, big proponent. I actually run a course called Handbag Packing Masterclass, where I teach women how to pack so light that they could travel for a week in a personal item size bag. And in this class, I actually pack up this teeny tiny 8-liter pack safe backpack. All right. I am actually packing this same bag for an 18-day trip to the States next month as well. Okay. Now, I know there are probably a few reactions to this at this moment. All right. Three reactions happening. Okay. The first one is you are super excited. You're all in. You're like, Brooke, just give it to me. I am ready to minimalist pack. Then the second one, you might be a little bit shocked and anxious. Like the thought of traveling ultralight, it makes you nervous, but you're also tired of struggling with your luggage. And you're like, I'm open to ideas. All right. Or you could be like this, like you could be a bit, dubious about minimalist packing. You have no plans to change. It's not for you. And you know what? that's totally okay. All right. If that's you, that's totally fine. I am not here to convince you that minimalist packing is better for you. I do what I do because it makes me feel better. It does. Having to deal with stuff in when I travel, like it's super annoying to me and I don't want to. So doing this is better for me. And you have to really want it to minimalist pack, right? I also feel empowered when I pack this light. It is a very empowering feeling. So if that resonates with you, then maybe you want to explore minimalist packing, which I'm sure most of you here, you're ready to do. That's why you're here. Okay. All right. So it might sound crazy. It might sound a little bit crazy. All right. But minimalist packing, when you do the work towards minimalist packing, it actually changes the way you travel and it changes the travel experience altogether. I already told you that you can have more time, energy, and money to put towards your actual trip. And you can get more travel experiences packed in when you don't have to worry about making arrangements for your luggage all the time, right? You get more of that travel freedom and lightness that you're craving when you book a trip. You will feel less exhausted because you don't have to pull a heavy bag over uneven cobblestone streets. You don't have to pull it up 10 flights of stairs because the lift is broken, which is not fun, right? You also don't have to spend so much time waiting, which I find super annoying as well. So it does these things, but I'm also going to say that it changes you when you minimalist pack. I know. It's just packing a bag. It's just packing a bag, but it does. It changes you. When you can go out into the world and you can confidently, pack a light bag, you can survive, without needing all this extra stuff. Like it builds a confidence in yourself that really spills over into other areas of your life. So raise the hands right now if that sounds good to you. You want more travel freedom, you want more confidence, and you're really into the idea of tiny bag travel. Let me know in the chat right now. I'm going to have a sip of water. This is like extreme couponing version of packing. Love that comment. All right, we got some hands way up. Perfect. Yes, we all want that. That's what we want. Perfect. Does sound great. Okay. All right, perfect. Yes, love the excitement. Love it. Okay. So to get to this point, you're probably going to need a bit of help. And that's why my gift to you today is this. It's a big eraser. Aren't you glad you came, everyone? You're getting a big eraser. Oh dear. Okay. No. If you currently pack like this, you have your carry-on bag plus your personal item bag, but you want to get down to just the personal item size bag, it takes a different set of rules and it takes a different way of thinking to achieve that result. So we need to start fresh. We need to start with a blank slate, hence the eraser. Okay. So that's why I'm giving you that big old eraser. Okay. Now let's think about how you're packing now. All right. You're most likely packing thinking about how you do things in normal life, right? It seems pretty logical. You use these products at home, so you want to take them with you on the road. You have all of these options. You have different outfits for every day at home. You want to have that same lifestyle when you go out and see the world. It's a logical way to think about it. Only I'm going to argue that it's not that logical. I know. See, the thing I like to, really drive home is that travel life is not the same as home life. It really is not. Does not equal home life. At home, we have all of these options and all of these routines because all of our stuff that makes it possible, it's sitting in our homes waiting for their 15 minutes of fame. It's not all on our backs. right? It's almost a little funny to think that we should create the same sort of experience when we have to actually drag it all around with us all across the world, from city to city, from accommodation to accommodation. Okay. So there is a different set of rules for life that happens when you travel. Okay. The faster you can accept that and adopt that mindset, the easier it will become to make improvements to your packing and to get to the ultralight minimalist packing realm. All right. If you want to pack ultralight, if that's your goal, you will be doing things differently. Okay. So wipe that slate clean, friends. Let's use that eraser. And let's get on to the 4 things you need to focus on in order to pack ultralight, especially when you want to go for an entire month in a teeny tiny backpack. All right. So, focus point number 1. You need to pack what moves the needle. You need to pack what moves the needle. All right. You pack what moves the needle and really nothing more. It is the painful truth about minimalist packing. You you really have to bring less stuff. You really do. But you pack the needle movers. Okay? So let's think about it. Let's say you have a limited amount of time to clean your house, right? Um, you have to choose the things that you're going to do that make the most difference. Okay. So if you have a friend that calls you and says, "Hey, I'm going to pop by in 30 minutes," cue internal freak out, you're probably making a list of all the things that you want to like get done and clean before they come over. However, the tasks that you actually do are the ones that are really noticeable and make a really big difference. So you're probably gonna, put the dishes in the dishwasher, you're going to vacuum, you're going to clean the bathroom and put key things away. You're not wasting time scrubbing the baseboards, you're not dusting the blinds, and you're not deep cleaning the pantry shelves, all right? They do not matter as much to the end result, okay? They do not matter as much. In the same light, that's how we pack minimalist. All right. When you're packing with a limited amount of space, you pack the things that move the needle, nothing more. You pack the things to the success of your trip, and everything else, you really have to say bye bye. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a packing list full of things that you love. It doesn't mean that you can't have options. You just have to think really critically about the things that you put into your bag. And you probably have to do a lot more work in advance to get to that point. All right. Long story short, pack what moves the needle if you want to pack minimalist. Now, I have like two like ways to think about it. So if you want to get to your needle movers, you can think about it in one of 2 ways. The first tactic is to use the 80-20 rule. All right. So you pack the 20% of items that do 80% of the work. For everything else, get creative. Now let's think about it in terms of your skincare routine. All right. So maybe at home you use product A, B, C, and X, Y, and Z. All right. But product A and B actually do 80% of the work. So can you get by on your trip by packing only those 2 items? Or maybe you pack A and B, but then you incorporate a completely new product M that's purely for travel. Now, this would fit the different set of rules that you create for when you are packing light. You might not normally use product M, but product M is your compromise. It keeps you from having to pack C, X, Y, and Z as well. Okay? Now, remember, a trip is temporary. All right. A trip is temporary. If you are living by a new set of rules when you are traveling and you're trying to pack light, remember, you will soon enough be back at home and you can do things normally. All right. Okay. So that's one tactic. The second tactic is to pack what would result in the greatest negative impact without. All right. So let's think about that in terms of clothing. Let's imagine a trip where we are going to a very hot and sunny destination. And it's also very buggy, like tons of mosquitoes. Um, what would be important clothing wise for a trip like this? Well, the things that would matter and really move the needle would be a pair of lightweight sun protective pants, a lightweight sun protective top, and a sun hat. And then obviously, the more skin you hide, the better protected you will be from mosquitoes. And you have to pack these things or something similar because otherwise, you will not have a very nice trip. Okay. You will not be having a good time when you are sunburned and you are covered in mosquito bites. All right. So, yes, we got some good options popping in into the chat. Yep. So, those things are pretty important. And so, you need to pack those. Alternatively, if you are on the same trip and you have like a friend that's passing through who wants to meet up for dinner and you just didn't have room to pack like a dressy outfit, okay? Is that at a detriment to the rest of your trip? No. You might feel a little bit uncomfortable when you're at dinner and you're not as dressed up as you'd like to be. But for the 90% of the trip that is left, it will not matter. Okay? It will not make a difference. So the dressy outfit is not a needle mover for you. Now, where you are going to win with this, where you're going to win with your needle movers is when you make these items more versatile. All right. So let's look back to that sun protective outfit that we had. And we ask ourselves, can these be used in situations other than when I'm in the sun or when I'm trying to dodge mosquitoes? Like, can they be used in any other situation? And if they can't, if they don't work very well, can you swap these items out for something else that can fare better? So instead of the safari looking pants, maybe we can throw in a pair of solid black pants instead. That could be easier to dress up. Maybe instead of the long sleeve top, we have a reversible long sleeve top. So it gives you two color options. Or you have a long sleeve top that actually looks cute with the skirt that you have packed in your bag. Okay, so you see where I'm going with this. With your needle movers, you identify them, you optimize them, and then you pack really just those things. Okay, if you want to go minimalist. All right, that's how we do it. Let me have a sip of water real quick. Okay. Let's move on to focus point number 2. And that is to think critically about what you're wearing. All right. You really want to focus on it. Why? Because what you're wearing is not packed inside your tiny bag. So it is a very important outfit. Okay. Now, bear with me. Now, if you want to think about needle movers, your needle movers in terms of clothing could literally be the clothing on your back. It could be a single outfit, right? Because when you have a single outfit on, you're protected from the elements and you're not walking around naked. Okay, so you will be fine. You will survive. And I know that's a bit extreme to think about, all right, but have any of you heard or done the 100-day dress challenge from Wool And? Has anyone done the challenge or heard of the 100-day dress challenge from Wool And? I'm sure you have. Okay, so basically, people are wearing the same exact merino wool dress for 100 days in a row. Okay, 100 days in a row. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't wash the dress because you can. Oh, Christina, she's almost completed. Yes, perfect. Yes. So it doesn't mean that you can't wash the dress. You totally can. The beauty of merino, it's a super powerful like fabric for travel. The beauty of merino is that it, smells less. It doesn't need to be laundered as often, and it's quick drying. So when you do wash it, it dries super quickly. Now, So people are doing this. In my membership last month, we did a 30-day rewear challenge. And I actually wore the same bamboo jumpsuit for the entire month of March. And by the end of the month, I was like, why couldn't I go away for a long weekend or a week or even a month planning to wear the same thing? Now, I'm not saying that you have to do this, but I do think doing a challenge like this is really great for changing your mindset when you are packing minimalist. All right. All right. Okay. But let's imagine that you are actually packing other clothing inside your bag. Okay. We're not just doing the one outfit. Let's imagine that we have other clothing in our bag. How you are going to get your bag size down is by optimizing the clothing that you're wearing. Okay. So it's not just a comfy travel day outfit. It's not just a comfy travel day outfit. It has to do more. Now, I'm sure you've been there when you're thinking about going on a long flight. You're like, I want the coziest, comfiest outfit possible. I like a hoodie, sweatpants, or leggings, and slides, or whatever I can just slip on really quickly. I used to think like that too. But now that I am packing in a more minimalist way, I have to make sure that the clothing that I'm wearing can work seamlessly in other aspects of the trip. It can't just be loungy clothes. It can't be something that I can't like dress up and wear in another way, and so on, right? So when you are putting together your clothing that you're wearing, definitely incorporate layers. Definitely try to incorporate travel-friendly fabrics like merino wool. And if you can, throw in a piece of convertible or reversible clothing because it'll just give you a lot more options. It does not mean that you need to do this. It does not mean that you need to wear your entire closet, all right? You can if you're comfortable, but it does not mean that you need to do this, all right? It's about choosing your pieces wisely, and if you can incorporate your needle movers into the outfit that's on you, you have some bases covered before you even pack your bag, all right? Okay. All right. Focus point 3 is to make your own travel seal of approval. I love this one. All right. Just because a product says it is travel friendly, it does not necessarily mean it's good for travel like automatically. And especially if you're trying to pack ultralight and minimalist, you have to be a little bit more critical here, So make your own travel seal of approval. There might be a travel friendly rain jacket that packs up into its own pouch, but in reality, the pouch is like this big, and your normal rain jacket almost does the same. All right. So just because a company says that it's travel friendly doesn't mean that it's going to work for you and your minimalist packing. One example I can come back to is, not long ago, I saw a new carry-on suitcase launched. And it, looked like it would be awesome, sounded awesome. But that carry-on suitcase on its own weighed 10 pounds before you add in any stuff. I'm trying to pack a bag that is no more than 10 pounds, like fully packed. And so it's just, keeping your eye on the little details is important. If you start from this area of 10 pounds, your bag is going to end up being super awkward to manage unless you're super strong. But yeah, it's just, I want you to be critical and to create your own travel seal of approval. So what does travel friendly mean to you? Get specific, really like identify what is important, like size, weight, fabric. Should all of your clothes be quick drying? What's important for you? Really, really identify those points because that will help you to decide what should and should not go into your packing list. And for certain items, you might be able to modify them so that they fit your criteria better. All right, they fit your criteria better. So you can repackage things like your toiletries. You can remove pieces of a product or an item, that you bought that's for travel that's basically obsolete. All right, so I like to think about the Venus Snap Razor. It's the little tiny razor on the left. It's the cutest, tiniest travel razor on the market, right? Only this little razor comes in this plastic case. I'm sure you all know it. And I feel like once you add in that plastic case, it's just like it defeats the purpose of this tiny little razor. So I just say ditch the case, cover your razor blade another way, and put it directly into your bag, into your toiletry bag, right? Another thing that's a big pain point that I talk about a lot is the deodorant packaging. Like, it drives me insane. Although there are a lot more deodorants and natural deodorants coming on the market that are more consciously packaged, so that's nice. But if you're using like a name brand deodorant, like, the packaging just takes up so much wasted space. Like this right here is probably a little bit more than what you get inside of your normal travel sized like deodorant. Maybe it's about the same or a little bit more. And it's a much more conveniently packed item. So if you just repackage things, do a bunch of them at once, have them ready to go. I love the oversized lip balm tubes for repackaging solid deodorants. So my point is, pay attention to the little details. Yeah, because it all adds up. Modify things to fit your criteria better if you need to. And look at everything, every piece of the puzzle. Don't overlook things that you just do because you just do them that way. Every piece adds up. Okay. Ditch most of the packaging. Yes, love that. Okay, let's get on to my fourth packing light focus point. And this is something that, it's a little different. It's, not something you're probably thinking about, but I think this point is actually the thing that will make or break your minimalist packing experience. All right. You have to believe in yourself. I know it's probably not the point that you're thinking of, but I think it's the most important point, because you have to have a confidence in yourself to pack minimally and to actually go out there and do it. You have to believe that you can manage most issues on the road, because you can. All right. And you have to believe that you're going to be okay without all the excess stuff. And that's hard to get to that point. But if you don't have that belief, then what happens? You freak out, you worry to the max, and then you add more and more things to your packed bag. And why do you do that? Just in case. Just in case. Just in case is the phrase that will make or break your minimalist packing experience. And you will basically sabotage yourself if you don't have that sort of belief that you are going to be okay without all the excess. And it's hard to get to that point. It really is. So I'm going to let you know I'm going to give you a couple packing light reality checks. Okay. All right. The first reality check number 1. Even if you pack for every scenario under the sun, something rare will still happen that you have not prepared for. Why is that? That's because life happens. Life is unpredictable and travel is unpredictable. So it's bound to happen. Like, even if we think that we couldn't be more prepared, something will still happen that you have not put in your bag. Okay, so you could just throw everything in and still there would be something else that could go wrong. All right, that's a reality check. You just have to accept it, that it can happen. So there's 2 ways this could go when that situation occurs. All right, so the first one is, I'm sure that you've been in this point before, this situation, this mindset before, is you freak out, you stress over the fact that you didn't pack the extra thing. And then you say the trip is ruined, and then you vow to never let that happen again. So you continue to pack those just in case items for the rest of your life, even if they're so rare, that the thing that you're packing for. All right. Or it could go like this. You could take a breath and say, these things happen and I can deal with it. And then you deal with it and then you get on with your trip. Right? Okay, so when you believe in your ability to cope, like problems don't seem as big. They don't affect you as much, and you realize that you can get by even without needing to pack your entire home and the kitchen sink. Okay, now reality check number 2 is the right gear isn't going to solve your packing problems. No, it can help you. No, the right gear can definitely help you. Gear is a tool that will help you and make things easier, but you don't actually need to have any special travel gear to be able to pack minimalist. All right. If you want it, you could do it right now. It all comes down to what's going on up here. Okay. So, an example, Clara Benson, who wrote the book No Baggage, she went away on a trip with no spare clothes. I think maybe she had spare underwear in her handbag. She wore the same exact dress for the entire 3 weeks. And it wasn't like a fancy travel dress. It wasn't convertible. I don't even think her shoes look very comfortable, but she did it. Now, again, that's extreme. I'm not saying that you need to do that or should do that, but you could, and your bag would be super tiny because of it. All right. So remember the rewear challenge. Just give it a try. It will help you come to terms with minimalist packing. All right. But this is the point where you should use that eraser, okay? Because it can all be normal. It can be normal to wear one dress and pack 2 in your bag. It is a common, packing light mantra to have one to wear, one to spare, and one to wash. Oops, one to wash, one to spare. So you could do that. That could be very normal for you. All right. And the only thing that is keeping you from doing it is you. You're either telling yourself that you won't be okay because of this, or you're simply telling yourself that it's not right. Like, what will people think? I get it. Now, I know there's a little bit more to packing. Like, you might need to have like some extra pieces, but I'm just trying to give you the overarching theme here is that it can be normal to do things with a lot less than we normally do. Now, it's not easy to get to this point to think differently. So I have 2 things for you today besides the eraser, which I know is a great little gift to you, but I have 2 things for you all before we wrap up and get into the questions. Okay, so the first one is a free PDF download called 10 Ways to Boost Your Packing Light Confidence. Now, I believe you can get more comfortable with the idea of packing minimally and traveling minimally if you have various tools, if you have the data to back it up, and if you have the results that give you the motivation to make it happen. So if you start doing these things now, it just sort of puts lines up your ducks so that you can, make it towards your more minimalist packing goals. All right. So that's at herpackinglist.com/minimalist. It's free. You don't even have to give me your email address again. It's all good. And the second one is a $30 off coupon code for handbag packing masterclass. And this code is valid for the next 5 days only. If you want to really work your way towards minimalist packing, handbag packing masterclass is where I teach you my step-by-step framework for making the most of your tiny packed bag. All right. It's also where I teach you to tap into your creative problem-solving skills, and that's like a priceless skill, I think, in all aspects of life, not just travel. So both of these offers are available on herpackinglist.com/minimalist. Okay, now I'm going to wrap up so we can get to the questions, and I can have another drink of water. But before I do, I just want to say one last thing, and that is minimalist packing. The thing about minimalist packing is that at this point, it's less about having a set amount of things, right? It's more about reworking the concept of what you need and how you pack all together. Creativity comes into play big time, and so does a new set of rules. Okay, a new set of rules. That's why I gave you the eraser. All right. if you want to make big change to your packing, definitely focus on these 4 things. Pack what moves the needle, remove the fluff. Think critically about what you're wearing, make your own travel seal of approval, or modify things, get creative with things to make them work with those ideas in mind, and to believe in yourself because you are capable of so much more than you think. And I believe in you. So there we go. We can get to the questions portion now, and I'm going to have a sip of water. So I'm sure you have tons of questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brooke. I've just been over here taking notes. That was so great. We have tons of questions for you in the chat, so I'm glad we've got some time here. Please do feel free to keep dropping your questions in the chat. We'll get to as many of them as we can today. But Brooke, for starters, let's see. Somebody has asked, in terms of backpacks and hand luggage, I know that you said that it's more of the mindset that's the most important piece, but do you have any like favorite brands, any recommendations for some kinds of like features or specs to look out for folks who are interested in minimalist packing?
Yeah. Okay. So lots of things to talk about here. Well, I like PackSafe bags. And like the bag that I show in my class, which is hold on, I got it here, the 8-liter one. It actually is a convertible backpack. Hold on. So you can actually fold it over, take your stuff out, and it folds over into a handbag. So I like to use this bag because when I get to my destination, I could take out the stuff and then I can actually carry it as my daily carry bag, like a handbag, instead of just a backpack. So that's a good bag. PackSafe has the extra like additional security features. So that's really nice as well. I like a backpack versus an actual like one shoulder bag or crossbody bag. So a tiny backpack instead of like a purse. Unless you're packing like really super light, like less than like 5 pounds. I find that having things on both shoulders means I'm way less like annoyed by my bag, and I like to be hands-free. So I recommend a small backpack. See what bags. If you're going to be traveling with a laptop, so if you're packing minimalist and traveling with a laptop, you're probably going to be looking at something in the 15-liter plus to 20-liter range if you're wanting to go like super tiny. But if you're not bringing a laptop, you can easily get away with 12 liters or 10-liter bag easy. So yeah. Does that help?
Nice. Yeah, that was great. We also had somebody ask, they have several backpacks and they're wondering how to determine how many liters their bags are.
So it's basically, you do an equation. So it's length times width times height of the bag as best you can. And that gives you your cubic inches or cubic centimeters, depending on where you are. I go into Google, I say convert 500 cubic inches to liters, and it tells you how many liters that is. So it's a little equation.
Thank you. We love a little math problem on a Tuesday night, on a Wednesday morning. While we're on the topic of recommendations, we've got some people throwing some love to the 30-day challenge. And someone has asked if you have any recommendations for the types of outfits or articles of clothing that stand up to constant wear and tear, or any of those staples you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, okay. Fabric choices that make it easier. Definitely, if you can wear merino wool, that's a great fabric option. So picking an item that's made from that will mean that it won't smell as much. I tested this stuff versus cotton, and it makes a huge difference. Like, it needs to be laundered less often. So it'll make the process of rewearing easier. I went for my 30-day challenge. Because it was summer here. Summer. It's like the opposite season from most people who are probably watching. I went for a sleeveless jumpsuit because I thought if it was sleeveless, it would be also less dirty. Like, I would just switch out on like undershirts and whatnot instead of like worrying about armpits getting a little bit, sweaty all the time in the jumpsuit. And also something flowy. It was also made of bamboo, which smells less, is antimicrobial, great fabric for travel as well. So I think dresses are also really nice because it's flowy and it's away from your skin a little bit more. That'll make you feel more comfortable, and you can do more layering. Otherwise, just like a solid colored top or solid colored bottoms or something like that. work well so that you can, make it feel a little bit different every day depending on what you pair the items with. So definitely think about fabric, and then depending on when you're doing it, how it fits, and whether or not it's like super in your face noticeable or just kind of blends in with everything else easy. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Oh, and Judy just asked if you can suggest a merino wool dress if you have a favorite brand or.
Oh, well, Wool and is a really popular merino wool dress company, and they have a ton of different styles of dresses. So whichever one works for, your personal style. But yeah, even in my like community and membership, it's the Wool and products are really, really good. So definitely check out Wool and.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Leslie, please jump in if I'm going to kind of paraphrase your question, but let me know if I'm missing it. Because Leslie has asked, how do you avoid all of the what if this, what if that? And what I think Leslie is getting at is maybe combating some of the uncertainty or the indecision. And I know you shared with us some of your like mindset shifts, but do you have any additional tips and tricks for how to get around that? Because I think that's probably a challenge that's relatable for many of us tuning in tonight.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a big part of, handbag packing masterclass as well. And it's really hard to change that. It's like ingrained in us. You worry so much. But I like to do an exercise where I write down, okay, if I don't pack this thing, what would I do if I ended up needing it on the road? What are 3 things I could do? And when you go through that process, you might find that, oh, well, there's actually another option, and it's only a slight inconvenience, or I might already be packing something else that could work in a pinch. So like you might think you need to have this awesome dress, but you have like a very casual dress that you can dress up instead. So it's just kind of going through and actually writing out, if this happened, what would I do? And the more you do that, it's like a muscle. It's like, yeah, it gets stronger. So easier and more
Nice.
experience as well. You kind of have to dive in. You have to kind of just go on a trip and work it out, because that also builds your confidence. It's the worry. Yeah, it gets you. It gets you good. Does that help?
I love that. I think that's great. And that this isn't a question, but Zoe shared something that I thought was brilliant and just wanted to share. Zoe said, a great way to stick a toe in the water of minimal packing is to start with a long weekend. That's not like a special event weekend. So you can go and try something that's maybe a little bit less committal and then scale that out.
Yes, I love that. That's a great tip. Especially just going somewhere that maybe isn't even that far from home. You'll just feel so much more comfortable because you're like, oh, I could still like go home if something bad happened, but then you'll realize nothing bad probably happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. We had another question in the chat. Somebody was curious if you've had plus size travelers that have attended your workshops and gotten value out of them.
Yes. So, we've had several plus size travelers come in and do handbag packing masterclass. And when we do handbag packing masterclass, I say to not choose a bag that is more than 20 liters. So that's the max I say to come in and do. And so we've had plus size travelers be successful with 12-liter, 15-liter, and 20-liter bags. And the thing is, it's like when you're packing minimalist, you're not actually packing that much clothing. So even though you feel like your clothing might be bigger, you're not packing that much in it. It's about choosing the right things that are versatile and will give you options. So it's still possible. It's very possible.
Perfect. Joyce wants to know, what about work travel? Do you have any specific curated tips around work travel when, the outfits are a little bit more formal? Maybe you're seeing more people and it would be a little unusual if you showed up in the same outfit every day.
Yes. Well, again, it's just choosing, things that mix and match. So, maybe you wear the same, jacket, but you have just like a different top or a different scarf or something that can change it up just enough. And most people, they're not going to think anything of it. Like they're not going to say anything most of the time anyway. We're so in our heads about other people noticing us when people are more worried about themselves. They don't care what you're doing. So, yeah. Talk about that because we did the rewear challenge in my membership last month. And so, talked about the spotlight effect and how we all think that everyone's watching us when they're not. They're worried about themselves. Okay. So, finding little things to switch up in your outfit for work travel is great, but don't get like so caught up in it. It's not that big of a deal, more than likely.
That's awesome. Thank you. I agree. I think life gets a lot less stressful when you accept that harsh reality that no one really is thinking about you that much as
no
much as you are.
Thinking about you.
In a nice way.
Yeah.
Here's a question that I've been curious about as well for your presentation. How do you deal with shoes? What's your shoe process?
Okay. Oh, shoes. Oh my gosh. I know it's a tough topic. And I'm still in my head, I'm still designing that like convertible shoe that's going to make this this problem go away. But until then, the number one priority, the needle mover that you have to choose when you are going on a trip is it needs to be probably a comfortable, walking friendly shoe. And that is the most important part, the most important shoe that you are packing. If you have shoes that are uncomfortable, that look cute, but you can't walk around and go sightseeing and do all the things you want to do, like you're not going to have a good time. So don't worry so much about the shoes. Your needle mover is the comfy shoe. And then I like to pack like one other shoe that is cuter. So if I can, so it could be a sandal, it could be a fold up ballet flat like Teeks. That's how I typically travel. So I have like one main comfortable walking shoe, depending on the season or where I'm going, and then something cuter in the bag. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Jenny's just asked a great question. We do have a lot of parents in our community and is wondering if you have any thoughts or tips for traveling with kids.
Well, the best thing that you could probably do is pack light so that you have your hands free to manage your children better. But it depends. It depends on what age children you have. Are they going to be carrying a little bag with their stuff, or are you also incorporating it into your bag at the same time? So you can basically do, similar principles, with their packing that you do with yours as well. So yeah, it just depends on what the goal is with that. Are you trying to have them carry a bag, or are they at an age where you have to carry everything? So
sure.
I guess, yeah.
That makes sense. Jim wants to know about the actual packing technique. Are you like a roll and fold advocate, or how do you go about that?
Roll or fold, it depends. I do roll my clothes inside of my packing cube. Yes. I am a roller most of the time. Yeah. But also I typically only take like one packing cube and not like many packing cubes. So I'll have like a packing cube for like my clothing, and then like a little pouch for like socks and underwear separate.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We've got another one from Leslie. Leslie's curious how much time you usually spend washing clothing when you're on a minimalist packing trip.
Yes. Well, it varies on the day because of what I'm actually washing. If I pack things that are merino and whatnot, I don't have to wash them as often. But socks and underwear, I will do probably every other night at least. But I'll take them in sometimes with me into the shower and just wash them, hand wash while I'm washing my body. So it just, makes the process easier when you combine it into something else that you're already doing. And yeah, so it just depends. If I'm washing other items like tops and bottoms, it'll add on a little bit of time, but I'll often do a thing where I put it in the sink, I let it soak for a while, then I scrub it around and then, do that. So yeah, just knowing that it's a part of the routine takes the annoyance factor out of it. It's like, I'm going to brush my teeth every day. I'm going to take a shower probably every day. And so if I can combine that into that whole routine, it's not a drama.
Absolutely. That last couple questions. People are interested in this topic of washing the clothes while you're on your trips. Is there a favorite soap brand that you suggest or use? And do you pack a clothesline with you for drying stuff, or how do you go about that?
Yes, a little packable clothesline is great for this, especially if you're packing minimalist, because you will be hanging stuff up pretty regularly to dry. And I like the True Earth laundry strips.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure you've seen them, but they're just like these dry little strips, take up literally no space in your bag, and they're not a liquid, and you just put them in with your clothing and do that. I used a lot. I've used like Dr. Bronner's like natural, like unscented soaps. I'll bring that. I have sensitive skin, so I'll bring that sometimes as well to wash clothing. But other times I've used bar soap. That is in the hotel. I make it work. Sometimes I've had to go out and buy stuff depending on how long I'm going to be somewhere or what I have access to. But definitely test out those laundry strips. Very good for packing light.
Oh yeah, I just got on that train and I've never looked back.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's such a great sustainable
Perfect.
solution, very eco-friendly as well.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, Brooke, I want to thank you so much for being here, for all of your time. And the laundry strips are the brand that we were talking about is True Earth. And thank you all so much for your engagement, for your questions throughout. This has been such a great session. Keep an eye out for a follow-up email from us that'll have more information about getting involved with our wonderful community, as well as a link to this recorded session so you can watch back for all of these great tips and brands that Brooke has shared with us. And yeah, that's all that we've got. Brooke, anything else from you in closing before we say good day, good night to all the folks that have tuned in here?
No, that's all. I just thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're inspired. And if you do go out and take a minimalist trip, like, let me know. I want to hear about it. And of course, handbag packing masterclass, use the discount code for the next 5 days. So there you go. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brooke. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your days and nights, and we'll see you again next time. Take care.